Installation. This is the third section, and it is written if any sort of installation, whether it is of hardware or software, is involved. All right, before they can be used, many products, both hardware and software, need to be installed. It is critical to give user the correct procedure to follow to carry out installation. For details on how to write procedure, see chapter 4, we'll discuss it later. Below is an example of from a manual on a super fast multiple charger. Note that the numbers in brackets refer to items in an illustration. Installation shop is a plug and play device, so installation is quick and easy. Look at this first sentence, right? Statement is introducing what the product is, and it's also encouraging quick and easy the user, right, to install, right? Okay, because usually users are like kind of tech phobia they have, right? Okay, so they avoid doing it. So such words can encourage the users to install at least whatever is being instructed, follow, and they may succeed in installing, whether it's the hardware or software. Now look at the language here. There are two steps: connect the power adapter supply to the DC jack. The numbers of the illustration diagram given over here. The adapter is optional but recommended. Without power, the system may not be able to feed the devices properly, as the current from the computer is very low. Connect the micro USB port. Again, illustration number is given to a USB of your computer using this cable, provided the computer is operating system. Computer's operating system will automatically detect. Okay, now over here, they've given two steps, and you can see that they're written in plain, simple language, short sentences, not very long one. And over here, we can see readers are being addressed. You can connect other devices, and you can see that they have used bullet points, and they have given white space right before writing the notes, right? So the reader can understand that these are the points, right, which are being separately written. They are not involved, the steps, and that's why they have numbered the steps as well. Now this is how the layout should be. Now let me scroll down, clear the marking. Now, I would like to read this point also because this has been explained in the end. Which one? I believe this is. No, no, this is fine. All right. The sentences are short, easy to follow. I've already discussed the two steps in the installation process are introduced with numbered. I've already discussed this point. The number in the bullets are the same as the numbers on the related diagram. First steps gives an explanation of the importance of using an adapter, and the second step tells the user about the expected outcome after the second step has been completed. This is also very important to list the outcome, because when the reader takes the first step, if an outcome is expected, that is to be mentioned, because if that outcome appears, reader this way can be kind of confident that he is going on the right track. All right, another section is getting started. With many products, you may not need to install any software. So when you don't need to install any software, then you are going to give this heading getting started. However, you may need to check a few things before you can actually use the product. The section which tells users about the any preparations they need to make is generally called getting started. Here is an example from our digibox. Getting started, this section gives you the information you need to start watching 3D digital satellite TV. For more detailed information about your Digibox, use the contents or index to find the relevant section of this guide. So this is like kind of introduction. What purpose does this particular section serve? Before starting, make sure viewing card is inserted the right way up in the slot marked viewing card on the front of your digibox. If you do not have a viewing card, call your broadcaster's help desk. For your broadcaster's help desk number, select the telephone number option from the services screen. So that you can watch all the channels, services you want, you must leave your viewing card in your digibox at all times. Now, here the first sentence describes what the section covers, as I told you. Second sentence refers to the different concept than in the first sentence, right? So it begins on a separate line. So let's have a look at this. We can see that for more detailed information, because it doesn't talk about what it covers, right? Rather, it's telling us about, if we want to read in detail, right? Okay, about digibox, right? We got to look at content. So this is a different idea, so that's why they are starting it from another line. Let me add the students here. All right. Then there is a line break. Yes, we can see a line break here, right? Why is this line break? To so the reader understand that the section actually is starting from here, right? So this is the introduction of the section. This is something extra information, right, which is not directly related to this one. And then here, from here, the section actually begins. So that's why they have given the line break. Before starting, okay, this I've already read. Now here there is one point. The term viewpoint, a viewing card, is written in two different formats: viewing card and viewing card, right? The first one is used to refer to the physical card, and the second one in italics and refers to a location. So when the location one term is being used for two different functions, right? Okay, we got to either change the font or italicize the font, okay, or bold it. One we got to bold, another we need to write either italicized or just in plain format font and all that. Why? Because to imply that the term is the same, right? But the same term is being used for two different purposes. For example, here, before starting, making sure your viewing card is inserted the right way, right? So here viewing card is the card actually, right? Whereas in the slot marked viewing card, and this viewing card is the location. So we need to change either font color, okay, or we either got to bold one or italicized the other. I mean, we need to differentiate these two terms, right, this way. If you do not have a viewing card, call your broadcaster's help desk. For your broadcaster's help desk number, select the telephone number options. Now here, telephone numbers are basically acting as adjective, right? Because they're describing option. Which option? Telephone numbers option. So you can capitalize them as they have done over here, T and N. You can see same goes for services screen. So services not in general, rather with reference to screen. The services are related to screen, so they have capitalized S. So this is how you differentiate if you are using adjectives, right, which are also nouns, but in this particular message they're being used as adjectives. Then you can capitalize them. Okay. Next section is, if you want to have a look at this one, you can do. So I have already explained these 2 points, right? Okay, this one I think is left. The user is given detail what to do if they don't have viewing card, what number they should ring, where they can find this number. Information give the reader a positive experience. They are not frustrated by not having all details they need. The word must is used to describe obligatory requirement. Must is unambiguous. It is clear that there are no other options available. So instead of should, can be, they have used must. That means this is something which is obligatory, which they got to do. Using your instructions, procedures. Let me see someone. Okay, I'll answer your query in the end. Okay, the most critical sections in a manual are those in which the reader is expected to follow a series of instructions, steps in order to be able to carry out a task. Writing procedure involves identifying the major tasks and separating them into subtasks. Writing a series of steps that walk the user through each subtask, often presented as list of bullets. Not having two steps in the same sentence, that means each step is to be in the separate sentence or bullet. Only giving the reader information at the exact moment that they need it. This is known as just-in-time information. So you do not state what is to come, maybe as a fourth step, in the beginning, right? Remember that users may be in a state of frustration as a result of having failed to carry out the task by themselves. So when they read your instruction, they need to be able to follow each step easily and clearly. Now let me scroll down. Don't make assumptions. Be very careful when making assumption about what the user already knows and the level of the expertise. You're very familiar with the product or service that you're writing about, so you may forget to include certain steps. So you may think that these steps are very obvious, but too many readers, nothing will be obvious. It is true. I mean, when you have a command over a particular, thing, you assume that it's easy and there are certain things which reader already knows, right? So but that may not be the case, so that means you have to keep in mind the reader's level, and you try to include each and every step, even the simplest one. Do not assume that readers already know that. Introduce procedures with a colon. When you introduce procedures, simply use a colon. Now look at this yes and no thing. To install the software, do the following, colon, and then they're saying to install the software, just colon. Now what is the difference here? Because following means colon. When you put colon, you're basically giving the list, right? It means that what follows later. So you don't need to write do the following. It is redundant in that case. Put everything in chronological order. Now, what does that mean? If you are writing about how to defuse a bomb, it would not be good idea to say cut the green wire having first ensured that the red wire has been disconnected. Instead, you need to say ensure the red wire is disconnected. So do not start off with the next step. Rather, state the first step first and then the second. So it should be in chronological order. Let me scroll down. Only have one instruction in each sentence. The following sentence is difficult to absorb because it contains a series of instructions in one long sentence. Removing a favorite channel. To remove a channel from your list of favorites, highlight it on the favorite channels screen, then press the favorite yellow button. The tick will disappear, indicating that channel has been removed from your list of favorites. Okay, this is all cluttered, right? It's difficult to understand. Now look at the revised version. Three short sentences in one paragraph. To remove channel from your list of favorites, highlight it on the favorite channels screen. Press the favorite yellow button. The tick will disappear. The channel is now no longer in your list of favorites. It's still cluttered. Now look at this version. To remove a channel from your list of favorites, colon, highlight the channel on the favorite channels screen, press the favorite yellow button, and then if there is an outcome, give a separate heading of outcome, and then write the tick disappear. The channel is no longer in your list of favorites. Tell the readers about the expected results of each step. User need to know the expected outcome in order to understand whether they have followed the instructions correctly. They do not want to be left in suspense, as I told you earlier, that, like, if they have taken first step, and after that there is an outcome, it you better, right, okay, you mention that outcome, right? So because if you do mention that, right, and it appears, then the reader may be kind of confident that he or she is on the right track. Okay, when the following instructions for a software application, the user needs to know what the screen will show after he or she has performed a task. Below is an example from a software manual. From the main menu, open the window showing the data you want to export. Select correct page to export all the data available for the window the command has been recalled from. Alternately, select all results rows to export only the data retrieved via the search launched outcome. The file download dialog window opens. Click open to open the Excel file. Alternately, click save. Choose where you want to save the document. Outcome, your Excel file appears in the location you have chosen. So this is how it should go. If there is an outcome, you have to mention that. Giving the white space, use colon in the way they have done over here. Okay, then say the example below is not good because point 3 and 5 appear to be steps that user has to follow, whereas in reality they simply show the outcome of the previous steps. Look at this one. From the main menu, open the window showing the data you want to export. Select current page to export all the data available for the window. The command has been recalled. Alternatively, select all results rows to export only the data retrieved via the search launched. The file download dialog window opens. They're saying that because point 3 and 5 appears to be steps that the user has to follow, whereas that's not the case, right? They show the outcome. So the file download dialog window opens. It may be confusing because the reader might take it as a step, whereas it is not the step, it is an outcome, right? All right, put a period at the end of each step. It needs to be clear to the reader where one step ends and the next step begins. And this should be clear from the use of numbered bullets. However, it also helps to put a period at the end of each step. This make it clear that the step is ended. Refer to buttons concisely. Now, this is also very important. Imagine this situation: you are giving user of your software application a procedure to follow. This procedure involves the user clicking on buttons. You have provided a figure that clearly shows the buttons. In the above situation, there is no need to use the word button again and again. Do not use button with OK. OK is always a button, and then there can be no confusion for the user. So there is no need to put an after click. It is not on after click. It is not usually necessary to specify whether it is a left hand click or a right hand click. Note, the verb is to click, not to make a click. Now, these are the things which you really need to take care of. Let's have a look at some examples here. Click on the Save As button and choose where you want to save the file. Instead of this, you should right click Save As. Do not right click on, right, where you want to save the file. Click the OK button. Click OK. OK is button, it's redundant. Click OK, click on. Do not use on. Click Save As. Make a left hand click on Save As. Do not do that, right? Okay, tips is another section. A tip is a short sentence that informs the user about a simple way of achieving what might appear to be a difficult task, a typical problem that can be avoided. Let's imagine you are writing instruction on how to send an attachment via email. A typical procedure might end with the following steps. Write your message, press attachment to upload the document to be attached. When the document has uploaded, the document icon will appear in the attachments panel. Repeat step 6 if you have other documents to send. Check that all documents you wish to upload are shown in the attachment panel. Press send. Tip: when you want to send an attachment, it is easy to forget to upload the attachment. To avoid this problem, carry out step 6, 8 before step 5. So when you are writing instructions and you just, figure out that the user might face a particular problem and you want to give the, solution to that problem, it's better that you mention that solution, right, using the label tip, and give it in the end. All right. So tip in the example was basically a warning recommendation. It's not essential for user to follow the tip. I mean, if they resolve it, some way, some other way, right, in some other manner, right, it's fine, because this is a recommendation. This is not something obligatory. So there is a difference between tip and warning and a warning. Below is another good example of a tip. Installing modules in slots, remove the shub lid by lightly pulling on the inner corners of the upper cover and lifting the cover. Figure 2. Tip: only two sides allow the cover to be opened. If you pull up the corner slightly and the cover doesn't open, try opening from the other side. This means you can work out in advance which sides enable the cover to be opened. So this is how you give tip, and usually they can be given in the end. Okay, for example, now the question arises, let's suppose there are number of steps, and there are two steps which require, tip. So you can, after, just after, that step, you can give the tip, or you can give it in the end, so reader actually, read all steps, okay, and in the end, the related tips, can be read. Okay, then we have another column or section, that is troubleshooting. What is troubleshooting section? A troubleshooting section lists the typical problems that a user may encounter and provides solutions. From your company's point of view, the troubleshooting section must be as clear, as comprehensive as possible, so that your help desk will only have to deal with very special cases. That means they don't need to, approach help desk. It should be as clear, right? Okay, unless the situation is different, which hasn't been covered, in the troubleshooting section, right? In all cases, you should try to predict the typical questions, scenarios that users are likely to encounter. That means you have to foresee those things, right? Based on previous experiences or based on discussion with the customers and all that. Okay, and after clear practical solution, troubleshooting is also written troubleshooting, or alternately, you can use the heading solving problems. Describing the user's problem. Below are some headings that describe four user problems. They are taken from a manual for a washing machine and are clear and effective. The use of bold is mine. That means the writer has used it, right? Okay. My machine makes a noise or vibrates in a spin program. The program takes a long time. My machine will not start. The dispenser will not close properly. Note the use of my. This makes the manual seem more user friendly. The present tense to express a scenario using an affirmative verb. Will to express scenario using a negation. So my machine won't start. Now over here, you need to understand one thing, because most of the non-native speakers, they don't know that when we talk about instant negation or instant, action, right? Okay, we, instead of present tense, we use future tense, right? And this future tense doesn't mean that this will happen in future, right? This means that this is happening in the present. This happens in the present. So my machine will not start, right? So it means that if it refuses to get started, right? Okay, the dispenser will not close properly. It also means the same. So these two examples, sentences do not refer to the future. But please keep it in mind. These refer to the negation, right? Okay, my machine makes up. Now, all these have been assumed by the writer based on observation, experiences, discussion with the customers. Now they are listing, kind of, yes, listing the likely problems which the customers may face, okay? And then they're going to provide the solution to these issues, right? Now, let me scroll down. Okay. Now, describing solution to the user's problems, let's imagine the same situation in 5.2 problems with a washing machine. The solution can be presented in a series of instructions and questions, possibly in the format of in the format of a flow chart. My machine will not start. Here is the question: close the door, choose a program, and then press on. Does the indicator light come on or after 2 seconds? Is the machine plugged in, switched on? Is the socket okay? Test with this. Is the fuse in the plug okay? Plug the machine in and turn the socket switch on. If possible, use another socket for the machine. If not, replace it. See step 1, electricity supply. Now, this is how they have, first of all, they have pointed out the likely problem, and then they have given a series of, instructions to resolve that problem. Okay. Okay, we'll continue with this topic in the next class. Before I end it, I would like you guys to ask questions. Let me unmute you guys first.